Welcome to Thrive at the Top, the podcast for leaders in high-pressure industries who are done with surface-level solutions and ready to lead with clarity, care, and strategy. I'm your host, Mabel Munyimani, the founder of Complete Wellbeing Global and the creator of the Safe Pillars framework. And today, I want to talk about something most leaders think they are doing, but very few actually are. Understanding the real mental health climate inside your team with data. We are now in Q4, the final stretch. Strategic planning is happening. Budgets are being set. Leadership retreats are being booked. And yet, most organizations are still relying on gut feel when it comes to something as serious as mental health, fatigue, burnout, and psychological safety. That's the problem. And that's where our diagnostics come in. Because let's be honest, we have safety tools, we have compliance dashboards, we have KPIs and engagement scores. But when it comes to mental health and resilience, most leaders are still flying blind. They are reacting to incidents, relying on surveys that measure mood, not risk. They are using engagement tools that don't ask the hard questions. Meanwhile, teams are showing signs of quiet burnout. Fatigue is being normalized. Poor boundaries between workload and recovery, and managers are unsure how to respond. You see, you can't solve what you haven't properly assessed, and you can't lead what you don't fully understand, and you can't measure or change what you have not tracked. So why a diagnostic is different and necessary. At Complete Wellbeing Global, we don't guess, we diagnose. Our Safe Pillars Diagnostic is built for organizations that are serious about creating mentally fit, high-performing teams, not just running wellness weeks. This diagnostic captures a 360 view of how your team is doing, mapped against systems, culture, policy, leadership, and psychological safety. And not just how your people are feeling, but what's actually creating risk, disengagement, or quiet resignation underneath the surface. So what does the diagnostic actually measure is a question that we often get asked. The Safe Pillars Diagnostic is structured around 14 psychosocial hazard areas aligned with the new regulatory standards and real-world leadership dynamics. Let's talk about the details. Here is what our diagnostic tests. It tests for high job demands, low job control, poor support, low role clarity, lack of recognition, organizational injustice, bullying and harassment, exposure to traumatic content, poor change management, conflicting or unclear reporting lines, poor communication, low psychological safety, fatigue and work-related stress, and isolation or disconnection, especially in hybrid fly-in, fly-out remote setup. These aren't abstract. They are daily leadership risks that directly impact performance, safety, and retention. So what kind of questions do we ask is another question we often get. I'll give you an example of some of the real examples of what is in our diagnostic. In the past 30 days, how confident have you felt raising well-being concerns with your immediate leader? Another one, do your team's workload expectations allow for genuine recovery? Not just breaks, but restoration. I'll give you one more. Are you clear on where your role begins and ends? And do others respect those boundaries? Each response tells us something, not just about the individual, but about the system they are working in. And I think this is the bonus. What is the strategic benefit, or why now? You see, here's what matters in Q4. As you plan for 2026, your strategic plan needs to be rooted in reality, not assumptions. You wouldn't build a financial strategy without data, so why build a culture strategy without it? This diagnostic, what it gives you, right? It gives you a heat map of your top psychosocial risks. It also gives you a strategic starting point for your 2026 well-being roadmap. And it gives you insights that you can share with HR, safety, ops, and C-suite. And then it also gives you a way to prioritize risk, to reduce guesswork, increase leadership confidence. So what is my call to action for you today? Here's my invitation. Before you plan another well-being initiative or before you draft your next leadership strategy, let's get data. Let's map out what well-being would actually look like in your team based on reality. What you can book with us is a diagnostic walkthrough, a well-being risk briefing, or a Safe Pillars snapshot for your leadership team. Feel free to DM me or visit mmcompletewellbeing.com to book your workplace resilience consultation. And as we finish up this conversation, I want to give you a reminder that resilient teams don't happen by accident. And that psychological safety doesn't happen through posters, brochures, one-off campaigns, and policies. It starts with seeing clearly and acting strategically. You've been listening to Thrive at the Top, a podcast for bold leaders ready to lead with clarity, care, and courage. Until next time, take care.